The peanut case is when you have two oriented corners diagonal to each other, like this, and two other corners situated like this, and the correct center on top. For the advanced method, there's 12 different peanut cases, and they're not that bad, so if you use Sarah's intermediate method, I would recommend learning these, and once you get used to them, they'll be really quick. So, just to clarify, the advanced method entails creating a layer, like so, and then solving the rest using one algorithm. There's I don't know, there's over 100 algs. I don't know exactly how many, but this is, in my opinion, a good set to learn. At least a good set to start off with. I say that because with the intermediate method, if you have this case, you'd be performing 3 sledges or hedges, sledgehammers or hedge slammers, and 8 of the 12 cases only require 3, so the move count is good. And also for those 8 cases, you really don't need to memorize the algs by rote. I'm going to go over how they're recognized and how they're executed. So those 8 cases not only have, this is one of them by the way, they not only have the peanut on the top, but in the equator around here, that's what you want to call it, it has a U-perm in the centers in all 8 of these. And when you have one of these U-perm cases, the alg will have 3 sledges or hedges with rotations in between. Excuse me. So you're going to start on the end of the U-perm that's not opposite. So by that I mean, here's the solve piece, and the U-perm has 2 ends to it. This is opposite, this is not. So you're going to hold it with the peanut on top, and you're going to start on the center, with this center in the front. And after each sledge or hedge, you're going to rotate in the direction of the solve center. So in this case, the solve center is right here. Sorry if you can't see it very well, it's kind of dark over there. You're going to start here because this is the end of the U-perm that's adjacent. You don't start here, you start here. And you're going to do a sledge or hedge, rotate toward the solve piece, sledge or hedge, rotate in the same direction, and sledge or hedge. And then the skew will be solved. Now you need to know whether you're doing a sledgehammer or a hedge slammer. You have to look at these hanging corners right here. If you're starting on either this center or this center, so if you're like around this left hanging corner, this thing's falling. I don't know, that's not good. Okay. So if you're around this left side hanging corner, so if you start here or here, then you're going to start with a sledgehammer. And if you start around this corner, so if you start on this center or this center, relative to these, then you're going to start with the hedge slammer. Now we start here, in this case, so we're near this corner, so in this case we're going to start with a sledgehammer. And then we're going to do a sledgehammer, rotate, hedge or sledge, rotate, hedge or sledge. This is what we know so far. Now, this is where it might get a little confusing. For all 8 of these cases, it'll start off with you doing sledgehammers or hedge slammers, but eventually you'll start doing the other one. And by that I mean, you might be doing sledge, sledge, hedge, sledge, hedge, 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 sledge, or hedge, sledge, sledge. So at one point it alternates over to the other one, and you won't have to do sledge, 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 or sledge, hedge, sledge. It'll always alternate it'll alternate exactly once. So if you do the first move twice and it alternates close to the end of the alg, so if you have sledge, sledge, hedge, or hedge, hedge, sledge, then it's what I like to call persistent. Otherwise, it alternates closer to the beginning of the algs, so such as sledge, hedge, hedge, or hedge, sledge, sledge, it is not persistent. You can tell if it's persistent by looking inside these hanging corners. So you want to look at these two centers right here. If you have exactly one adjacent center relative to the background, sort of, then you have a persistent case. If there is not exactly one adjacent, then it is not persistent. So in this case, we have an adjacent and a solved. So you have exactly one adjacent inside these stickers. This is going to be persistent. Now, sometimes you'll have two adjacents, then it's not persistent. It needs to be exactly one. And sometimes you'll have like a solved and an opposite, that's not persistent. But if you have exactly one adjacent, even if you have adjacent opposite, then that is persistent, as long as you have exactly one adjacent inside these hanging corners stickers. So since this is persistent because we have exactly one adjacent center inside, we know that we start here and we're around this corner, so it'll start with a sledgehammer and we rotate toward the solved piece. So it's going to be sledge, sledge, hedge, rotating this way. So sledge, rotate, sledge, rotate, hedge, and it's solved. And it will be solved if you did it right, because this is the last step of the advanced method. So I'm going to do a few more examples just to help you out a little bit. Alright, so again we have a peanut case with a U-perm in the equator. Here are the two ends of the U-perm. So we're going to start right here. And it is around this corner on the left. It's closer to that one. So you're going to start with a sledgehammer. And we're going to rotate toward the solved piece. And we're going to look inside. And we see that there is an adjacent and an opposite. So you do exactly one adjacent, and it's going to be persistent. So it's sledge, sledge, hedge, and it's solved. Exactly the same one, except you know, it's rotating this different way. Okay, let's do another one. Alright, this is one we can do. Peanut, U-perm. You have these two ends of the U-perm. You're going to start here, because this is the adjacent end. And you're going to start with the hedge slammer this time, because we are around this corner. So you start with the hedge slammer, and you rotate toward here. And if you look inside, there is an adjacent and a solved. So in this case it is persistent. So you're going to start with hedge slammer. So it's hedge, rotate, hedge. Wait. I think I did that wrong. Oh, it was hedge, hedge, sledge. Hedge, sledge. Sorry about that, but you get the idea. Alright, we'll do one more. I don't know how exactly to like set up a good case. That'll help a lot. Okay. So peanut U-perm. We're going to start right here because it's the end of the U-perm that's not opposite, it's adjacent. And we are around this center. So since we start here, it's going to be hedge slammer that we're starting with. We're going to go toward the solved piece. Look inside these hanging corners. You'll see that you have a solved and an opposite. And that means it will not be persistent. So it's hedge. It's not persistent, so it alternates after the first one. So sledge, and rotate, sledge. And that's how you do those 8 cases. So hopefully that made sense. Now I'm going to go on to the other 4. So yeah, there's 4 other cases. And all 4 of these have higher move counts, but this is what I do in these situations. So one of them is just a pure peanut, so the only thing that's not solved are these 2 corners. You might know this already. I think if you know like the Chris Bird method, that will tell you how to do this. But anyway, I don't remember. But what I do is I hold it like this, so hang corners like this, and this is how I'm going to hold it. So I do 2 sledges, tilt it up, and then rotate it over here, and then do 2 more sledges, and that'll solve it. The next case, hopefully I'm doing this right. Okay, so in these other cases, you're going to have different combinations in the equator. So here, instead of having a U-perm, you have a Z-perm. This is what I like to call a matched Z-perm, because it's matched up with these corners. So we have a swap inside and a swap outside. You're going to hold it like this. In fact, for this and the next 2, you're going to hold it, you're going to start out like this. This is the way I do it. I didn't see any algs for this, but based on my knowledge of advanced cases on 2-touch and no-touch, then I kind of figured out 5 sledge and hedge algs for this. You should, for all the advanced cases according to Sarah, you shouldn't need to do any more than 5. So these are just bad cases. But I would hold it like this, and I would do sledge, Y prime, sledge, Y, hedge, Y prime, sledge, Y, sledge, and that'll solve it. The next one this is also a Z-perm, but it's not matched up sort of with these hanging corners. So you have a swap around this corner and a swap around this corner. It's what I like to call an unmatched Z-perm. So the last one was a matched Z-perm. This is an unmatched Z-perm. So then I do sledge, Y, hedge, Y prime, sledge, Y, hedge, Y prime, hedge. And that's how you do that one. And then there's one more. Wait, I should do... yeah. And then finally you have this. You have the peanut on top, and you have a H-perm in the equator. So again, you're going to hold it like this. It's going to be all sledgehammers. Sledge, Y2, sledge, Y2, sledge, Y prime, and then you have the pi, so you do 2 sledges. And that's how you do all the peanut cases for the advanced method. I hope that helped. Goodbye.